Hi everybody, Sean here from the SciFi Model Guy, and welcome to video 2 of the Starship Enterprise 650:1 scale build from AMT. In this video, we're going to be going over the sanding techniques and the prep work required to get this model ready for priming, painting, and ultimately the lighting. So there's a lot of important details in this one, especially if you're going to be lighting this kit. You don't want to miss out on this. And I will be back at the end of the video with a little quick outro. And with that, happy modeling. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you down the road. Hi, welcome back everybody. Here we're going to do some cleanup on the nacelles and maybe the saucer section and the upper half of the secondary hull here. But before we go on there, let's review a little bit on what options we have to do this. So we've got quite a few options here. We have seen, of course, the sandpaper that we kind of went over with a little bit earlier, and these are just different grades. You can actually find this at hobby stores. You can also find it at Walmart in the I saw some the other day in their car cleaning section where they have all their car soaps and all those things. There's polishing strips of sandpaper, and they're very, very fine grit. 2000 grit and 1800. So some of those might be an option. They come in little sheets like this. If you have, or if you want to go to Hobby Lobby, hobby stores, maybe a little bit cheaper just to get it at Walmart. And one of the neat things about this series is we're going to go over some inexpensive ways to paint, prime, and clear coat your model. I know some of the manufacturers out there may not want to hear this, but there are some very inexpensive ways to paint and prime, protect your model without having to go and spend $8 for a little can of gloss paint from Tamiya or Testors or something. It works just fine. We'll go over that as it comes. So quick review here. We've got all the sandpaper that we've discussed ad nauseum. Next we have some plastic sanding needles. Picked these up at Hobby Lobby a few days ago. $4.49 for this packet of about 10 of them or so. 150 grit, so they are pretty rough. Neat thing about these is you can really get into some fine detail, fine little areas with a point here and get in there and really sand out. So like for instance here, we've got a little hole here. These holes hold another piece when the nacelles come together. I'll just quickly show you. Oh, I have the wrong one. There we go. So right there, you see we've got these two little holes that hold another piece. Well, let's say you do it and you paint it, or maybe the hole's not big enough. You can take this little sanding thing and get in there, just twist it around. You can do all kinds of neat things. You can file with it, of course. Pretty versatile tool. Just picked it up the other day, and I've already found some good uses for it. Next, similar to the sanding needles, are these little sanding sticks. You may have seen these. They serve pretty much the same function. I think they have two different kind of grits. This one seems a little bit finer than here, the darker color. I've used these tons, and those are good for going in like that. You could also use an emery board. Emery boards are just fine. They're very cheap, inexpensive, easy to find. You get it at Target, Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, all those kind of places. They're very fine. Anything that works, everybody. So you are not constricted to just going to the hobby store and finding stuff. There are solutions all over the place on getting these things done. So next we have, of course, the X-Acto knife that we discussed earlier to kind of scrape off little shavings, and you can do some good stuff with that. Just be very careful, because this will literally carve out chunks of your plastic, and you want to be very careful. This here, not really for grinding or sanding anything, but it is a tool that's frequently used. It's basically a dental pick. It used to have a sharper point there that it broke off, but I have this little guy here. It's pretty sharp. This is good for doing all kinds of things, like moving pieces that you don't want to get your hands on if you have big fat fingers like I do. Sometimes you need something that's a little finer to move stuff around. These are good for moving decals around, sliding them around. It's not so sharp that it will cut them. I have seen a lot of guys use X-Acto knives to slide decals around when they place them. I don't recommend that. It tends to these things tend to cut the decals. You can end up with a little bit more cleanup than you're wanting to. Lastly, here is a set of some files, various files. I haven't used these so much, but you can grab these at various places. All kinds of shapes here. I don't think I've used them, all but one of them here. But they've got different kind of metal metal grits on here, so it's kind of like a permanent sandpaper, and you can use those to gently file away some stuff and not worry about wear and tear so much. These things are pretty versatile, and they've got the little poke there. Nice little thing to have, little tool. But basically, if you're on a budget and you're just starting, I would definitely recommend some standing sticks. You can get them very cheaply. This was $5.49 back in the day. They've lasted me for years. The sanding needles, of course, these things seem to like they're going to last a long time. So sanding needles, sanding sticks, and maybe a little set of varied sandpaper. There's collections at Hobby Lobby, I think, and other hobby stores where they have about 4 or 5 different grades of them, or try Walmart. But you're definitely going to need some kind of a sanding tool to get these little gnarly bits off of here. We're going to have a lot of work to do here on this one. This kit just unfortunately did not turn out to be easy, but we're thankful for that, because then we get to learn together. For instance, the adventure we had with this bottom of the secondary hull that's basically not usable for this one, but we're gonna call AMT in round 2 tomorrow or Tuesday, whenever I can, and talk to them about sending a replacement part. Hopefully they still have them in stock. It's a great company. I'm not upset that the piece was bad at all. It happens. It's part of the gig. But if you do get one, definitely try. If you get one that's warped, definitely try that hot water boiling method. Give it a try. This guy was just it's such an intricate part and so required to have such a great fit on here that it just didn't work out. But if this was a car or a vehicle or maybe a different piece from this model, it would have been fine to use that method. And you know, we'll see what AMT does to make it right. That's always been my way of judging anything, any company or service where an error is made. The fact it's not that the error was made, it's what's done to fix it. And so we'll see. I've got some good hopes. We'll find out. Hopefully we can come back and give a good report. It'll be just a few minutes for you, but a couple days for me to find out. So anyway, with that said, I'm gonna pause it here. Just one couple quick note. I did, when I cut these nacelles off of the sprues, I did leave quite a bit of hanging there. I tried not to get too close to it for the fact that I didn't want to dig into the nacelle. The other builds I've done with this model, where I've cut very close to there, it's kind of dug a little divot out and took a little bit of putty work. So we're going to try something new this time, leaving some to go. And I will use the various methods we've already seen with maybe the Dremel tool with the sanding disc on there to get that down, and the various other tools that we've gone over here in sandpaper. So I'm going to get to work on this, and we will come back and we'll see the finished product So don't go away. Hey, a little quick side note here while we're cleaning up these little guys. Just want to bring up some of the flash things. So when you're cleaning these up, always take your time. Look at the flash that's coming off there and decide how best to do it. So this here is very thin. I'm going to use the X-Acto blade method here and just kind of very carefully, of course, peel that away. You know, always there's a little bit of a lip there. That's when we take our sandpaper. And then here's another little trick you can use. So a lot of times what people do, they'll grab their piece, they'll grab the sandpaper, and they're judging. And so you're using the sandpaper our hand to dictate how much pressure. When you've got a nice flat thing or a flat piece, or you want to, or even if you want to curve something, you think about doing this too. You move the towel out of the way. You put your sandpaper down on the table. Take your piece and just scrape it this way. This way you can kind of get a nice even sanding, and you can push as hard as you want. And sometimes it's easier to kind of get it off there in this way. Try both. If you're having, especially if you have a little tiny piece or something that's got a nice straight result that you want to do it on this side too. And I'm just gonna go this way, and this helps clear out some of the flash and keeps it nice and even. You can put as much pressure as you want. You can go slow to grind it off, or you can kind of go really fast to quickly get it. And of course use different grits. This is a little finer grit here. Maybe I can do some circles. Just like when we sand wood, we do in circles. You can do the same thing with the plastic. And now I've got this nice smooth edge. Nothing coming up. I get a little bit of flash here. Nick that guy right off. And then the other technique you can do also is this. And I'm exaggerating this, but it's kind of like a U shape up and down. And you don't want to scrape too much on this side, but whatever works. So try different methods. It's not always this. You're going to try different methods and angles and approaches as you do it. So, okay, that was just a quick aside, and we're going to be back again. Okay, everybody, another little side note here. We've pretty much sanded down all the nacelles. We've sanded down some of the stuff on the top part of the secondary hull. One thing I'm just going to show real quick. We've put together these nacelles, and they're just being held together with tape right now. And did that to make sure that we get all these lines flush. And then what we're going to do right here is sand down these front and back of the tubes, because these nacelles are notorious for being just a millimeter off, very slightly. Wouldn't even matter if you were not lighting this project, if you weren't lighting it and it wasn't that big a deal. Go ahead and just do it. But we're going to be lighting this, so we have to start thinking now about blocking the light, keeping light from leaking out of the little seams where things go together. So one of the places where I know it will leak here is where the front and back caps go on these engines. So, and just to kind of show here, if you can see right there, there's a little gap right there. And if we get our flashlight here, we could probably demonstrate this in real time. And there you go. You can kind of see this gap that's going to show right there. And that's just with this little flashlight going in there. So we're going to have to do our best to make sure that these are flush and going on there very nicely. So we're going to give it another try on this one. So it's a good way, this is even before we start priming and light blocking, is just hold up little pieces and you can kind of see where you're going to have some light problems. And That's why you really want to get these seams as flush and sealed and tight as you possibly can. So what we're going to do here, now that we've got these taped and they're pretty much held on, they're pretty good, we're going to take this some pretty rough sandpaper. I'm thinking this is maybe 120 grit. It's pretty rough. You can hear that. And we're just going to take this here and we're going to do some little circles. Very lightly. You don't want to press too hard and you don't want to squeeze this too hard either, because it's only held together with some tape. So we're just holding it enough to keep it together nice and steady. Big circles. And then we're going to take a look at it. And you can see here there was a little bit of a dip there. We're starting to get that down. We're going to do some more. And again, you're not pushing down super hard. You're taking off a little at a time. It's feeling pretty good. And just like before we said, right now I'm touching this, I'm not looking at it. I'm using just the sensory of my fingers here. Okay. And I do apologize for the sound quality here. We got a mic. I got a microphone today, and the last few little rounds and takes I've taken, I haven't plugged it in, so you might hear it come and go during this video. My apologies. I'll try to do better with that as we make more videos going forward. So here's another one. We're just gonna. I already did this one before off camera. Just gonna show you a little bit here, and this just helps ensure we get a nice tight fit when we put on these caps, and then when we put on the Bussard collectors, the round bits there, we're going to be painting those with some transparent tape. So anyway, that was it for this little bit here. I'm going to take these off here, a little sand it down. We're going to finish this up, get that nice and flush. Actually, probably with the same technique. Why don't we just do that right now? You can see it's getting a little better. Give it a little bit more. Again, not squeezing very hard, not pushing down very hard. This plastic gets sanded down very easily. It's very easy to cut it with your X-Acto knife or sand it down. Let's give it one little bit more pass and then take a bit finer. Just to kind of smooth it out. Yeah, there we go. It looks nice and even. We're going to go through here. There's a little bit of flash coming out here that we're just going to use our X-Acto knife and just peel that away. Come through with some rough paper here. And it's important to get if you're going to be lighting this, it's important to make sure that this bit here and this bit here is sanded and flush and as good as you possibly can, because once this models together, just from experience, once we put this saucer on here and you get the bottom there and then the cells coming out, it's really hard to get into this little bit here in the front of the ship. So you got to make sure that we're actually going to be painting this part before we assemble, just for the fact that I'm using an airbrush, really hard to get it in there. Once it's together, just learn that from experience. So we'll get to that. Kind of jumping ahead of ourselves a little bit here. And that looks really good, nice and flush. And we're just going to sand this down a little bit more. Alrighty. Alright, that's good. And then a little bit more cleanup here. We'll go off camera to do that and get it cleaned up. And then what we're going to do is take the steel wool, the double-aught steel wool, and give it a nice smooth brush down. We're going to get little bits of steel going everywhere, so you might want to wear a mask, a little like the gardener's mask, to keep from breathing in any of these little filaments, especially if you have an air conditioner or a fan going in there. These little bits will come off, so be very careful. Maybe even some eye protection would be good. And we're just going to go around and scuff it up because we got this nice shine, this sheen, this reflective bit on here. We're going to take that off. So we're going to come back. We'll just be doing this. It's nice and easy. It's light. It's not rough. You're not trying to gouge it. You're just trying to take off this top clear, shiny bit there, because we're gonna paint over this, prime it, and the primer and paint doesn't seem to like going on plastic when it's super shiny like this. So anyway, we're not going to show all that on camera. We'll come back. Everything's going to be cleaned up and sanded as best as we can, and then the steel wool. And after that, we'll go and wash it, bring it back and lay it all out, and then we'll continue on the project. See you soon, everyone. Okay, everybody got the microphone plugged back in. So again, my apologies if the audio quality is shooting around a little bit. We're still working things out. So everything has been steel wooled. If you can see here, if you want to look at the comparison, this is the inside of it, and this is the top that I've scuffed around. So you might still see some reflections. That's fine. We don't have to really get this too much. You just want to get a nice scuff. I don't think you can see the little scuff marks on it, but if you can, don't worry, these will go away. We're going to be putting layers of primer and regular paint on there, sanding them down a little bit, repainting, and so that will be fine. So it's all ready to go. We're going to just lay out the pieces here so you can see it's really not that complicated of a kit, especially if you're not lighting it. And I do hope you do decide to light the kit. It's a lot of fun. If you don't, though, this model can be extraordinarily beautiful. And when we get down, we'll show you a kit that the first one I did of this one. It's a little bit, it's got little flaws to it. It was before I got too experienced, but it still looks nice. So this is it, with the only exception being a couple of these little sprue pieces. There's these 4 little guys that go in the nacelle, and 2 others that go on the inside of this chiller grill here. And that's it. This is the model. So we are scuffed up. We're ready to go. Going to take this out into the kitchen and fill the sink up with some lukewarm water with some dish soap. And that will help get all the little oils and things from my hand and that. So we want to get this as clean as we can. And then we're going to start lighting, putting some lighting in here. And we'll go through that, explain that in detail, and start putting these sub-assemblies together and end up with a complete kit. So this is it. Hopefully, if you have this kit, you're following along, or if you're just going to wait for all these to play through before you make a decision. Either way, if you're watching, we do appreciate it. One thing to point out to everyone here, although we got everything scuffed up and it's going to be put aside, we do want to call out that the towel here that we have has little pieces. I think we talked about this before. Has little pieces of this steel wool laying around. Got to keep very special mind of this. We're going to take it outside. I'm going to shake it, get as much of this off as we can, because as we're working, we lay our hands down here and start leaning it, and then you're going to get these nice little guys poking in your arm. You're going to be laying in bed wondering, why am I scratchy and why does this hurt? So it's very important to get that off. Some people might want to go into like a utility sink, if you have a sink in the laundry room, or even outside if you want to get like a bucket of water. And these things, they will rust up if you get them too wet, but so you might want to do it outside. I chose to do it in here. And looking at this, I just got to be mindful. That's why we have the towel down. It's one, just to give you a background, but second, to capture these little things so we can take it outside and shake it out and preserve our nice cutting mats here that aren't free. Okay, all right, with that, we'll be back. Okay, everybody, just a little quick snippet here. I don't know where we're even going to be plugging this one into the video. But right now what we're going to be doing is creating some masks for these windows. So I got the little ruler out here, and I measured, and these things are just about not even a 1/16 of an inch wide there. Very, very tiny. So I've got my masking tape here on the mat, and we're going to try our best to just approximate these. I don't think there's really any other way to do this other than just to kind of eyeball it. And hopefully if you have a good eyeball and you've got a steady hand and a sharp knife, we should be able to cut a strip of this tape here. Okay. And that'll be test number 1. So there's our thin little strip of frog tape. Now we just have to kind of guess and see how wide these are the other way. So rotate this around here and we'll take a look. About a hair more than a 1/16 of an inch. So again, we're just gonna eyeball this thing. I think we'll just do it freehand, see how it works out. So when I tried to pull it, it yanked the tape with me. So we'll just try pushing it down. I'm just pushing it down a little bit like that to see if it can sever it. I don't want to cut too much into my mat, even though these are pretty resistant. So let's put one on there. Come on, buddy. Stick. No, that doesn't want to stick. Maybe try a different one. That noise you heard was Lolita, the Chihuahua. Sometimes we call her Chucky. Just from that weird sound that she makes. It's something else. There we go. Got one of them on there. So I'm going to continue doing this here. I just wanted to do this live and so you all can see me learning. Got a pretty decent little mask there. So I'm going to keep going. This may be enough for most of the ship. I'm not sure. But it wasn't that hard to do. So I'm going to go around and continue to mask all of these. I did decide, I think I mentioned earlier in the video that I was going to black out some of the windows to be more like the show. I think I've decided against that. I'm going to just brighten them all up. The ship's going to be at red alert, all hands on deck, all lights on. No one's sleeping. We're gonna have all the lights on display here. So yeah, I'll finish masking these here with that, and then what we'll do is we'll get the micro mask out and the brush. And in fact, you know what? Why don't we just do that now? We're all about real-time decisions here, not too much scripted. So here's my handy cup of brushes. A little fun fact: this little brush here, cup here, I grew up as a little kid drinking milk and everything out of it. My parents kept it, and I decided to hold on to it. And it's still serving me. Maybe some of you out there recognize these old classics here. So MicroMask is out, and I've got my small little brush here, and I just went in there and got a dab of this stuff, and all you got to do is just dab it. I'm going to get a little bit more on my brush here. This stuff's really great. And it only takes a little bit of time to dry. So I'm just touching it to the model and then lifting up. And as you can see there, by doing that little dab, it left a nice perfect circle, as I was hoping. And so any of the round window ports, we're going to be doing that with this mask. Just dab it on, lift it off, and that will provide enough mask for us to spray and paint. When it's all done, we just flick it off with the dental pick or the knife tool, and we'll be set. So okay, we're gonna cut it off here, and I'll come right back after for the end of this little segment, and we'll show you the end result. See you in a minute. Okay, everybody, we're back. This is about an hour and a half, maybe hour 45 minutes to get this done. So I took a couple strips of the green masking tape, cut it down to a little bit less than a 1/16 of an inch wide, and just used the old number 11 X-Acto knife and manually cut masks for all these windows. So you can see here, and then the saucer, and then any of the round ports, we did what we showed you earlier, getting the micro mask and a little dab on a brush, and just touch and get a nice little round bit, and with the pre-imprinted little round ports there, that kind of held it in. So I'm pretty happy with this. It looks good. Got all the lights here on this is the underneath of the saucer. We've got and well, the blue items are the micro masks. So we got little round ports and some green there. This is the bow of the ship, and then aft. Got a little bit here on the bridge on the BC deck, a couple window ports in the front, and some green regular windows there on there. And then, of course, the upper half of the secondary hull right there. So as we said before, we're decided to light all these up. These are all going to be lit. The only thing different is this light here and that one there we're going to do in red. Everything else is going to be the lights shining through. And to get it red, all we're going to do is just use some of this Tamiya clear. It's a clear red, and this is going to be the same paint that we use for the Bussard collectors in the front of the nacelles. Might even throw a little bit of yellow. We've got some Tamiya yellow here, and I have some Tamiya orange clear that we can use. Maybe even stripe the Bussard collectors, kind of like in the show. They were kind of like the little rotating bits that weren't really one color in particular. We're not going to have any movement on this kit. The 350 size 3-foot model absolutely does have fan blades available. I've got a couple for that's going to be a upcoming project. Is the 72-inch? I'm sorry, not 72-inch. 36-inch 3-foot Enterprise. Boyd over at TrackWorks is actually working on a 72-inch 6-foot long Enterprise. I think this is a multi-year project for them. Go check out TrackWorks. Tons of videos on there. Boyd is actually, he doesn't know it, but he's kind of a mentor for me. So I highly encourage everyone to go to his channel and check out what he's doing over there, and you're going to get some good tips. We're focusing this channel on a little bit different, a little bit more toward beginners. And that's how it is, but a little bit of cross functionality is fine. Again, this is for the hobby. Our aim here is to learn, to grow, and to help the hobby. The more people doing this hobby, the more cool ships we're going to get from the manufacturers to build. So we're just a big community here, and we're not in competition in any way. So go check out Boyd. That's it for today. I'll come back. I don't know if this is going to be the end of this video or if we're going to start it up, but we got all our masking done, which is great. And also point out, we do have, I did put the sprues in here for the lights to go into where these windows are. So you have the window group there, and I put the little cut from the sprue to aim the lights directly out. That'll definitely be on the next video. And then the other thing we did here was I cut a bunch of pieces of sprue off and mounted them inside here. And the reason for this might look a little goofy, but when we put the nacelle together, we're going to get an LED. I did change my mind. I was originally going to go with one of these guys put here, but then I realized that the opposite side of this isn't going to have a light. So we're just going to go with a bright, I think 5mm LED white light, which I have to order from HDA Model Works, but those usually come in a few days, so absolutely no rush on that. I'll get that ordered tomorrow. But I put these sprues here so that when we do get the LED, it'll have something to rest on. When it's kind of sticking out there, it will be right in the middle of the nacelle here, so that the light will distribute evenly. And we're not even going to see this. It's hidden. It's going to be covered and everything. And it's going to be looking fine. Another point out, we did get knurled out these little channels here for the wires to come through. And if you look here, it's maybe hard to pick up on the camera, but we did get the Dremel tool and kind of a grinder bit. This is a drill bit, but we got a grinder bit and just kind of cut out this little line there. And so the wires are going to come down here, and they'll have plenty of clearance. I did that on both sides of the nacelle. Did do a little bit of a goof on one of these guys. I think I cut the channel a little bit up into the nacelle, so when I poke it into here, we're going to see it. But again, putty is our friend. It's our savior. We're going to get that cleaned up really nice, and you won't even be able to tell. This perfect plastic putty is great. And before we let you go, I'll just pull that out if I can, or maybe I can't find it yet. Kind of reorganize a little bit, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, so that's it for now. Again, not sure if this is going to be leading into video 3 or if we're going to just hit a pause. I'm going to bed. I'm tired, and we'll catch you either in the next video or we'll catch you in a couple seconds. Either way, we'll talk to you soon. Hi everyone, that's the conclusion of this video. I decided to stop it here because the next segment is going to start getting into the lighting and priming and painting. So this was a natural good stopping point. So I do apologize for you having to see this face again. But I think for this build, I'm going to go ahead and keep doing the intro and outro, just because when I started filming these, I wasn't sure where one segment or video was going to start and the other was going to end. So I thought it would be a good bookend to let you all know you can just click that close. But before you do, please hit the like, hit the subscribe, make a comment how you feel. If you have any suggestions or complaints or comments, please leave them in the comment section below, or feel free to email me. It's in the about section of the channel. I've got an email address set up just specifically for this. It's the sci-fi model guy at gmail.com. Drop me an email with pictures, ideas, comments, complaints, what have you. But regardless of all that, I do thank you again from the bottom of my heart. If you've made it this far, especially, thank you very much for your attention, and we can't wait to see you down the road. Got tons of projects lined up, and I just can't wait to share them with you. So with that, we'll take it easy, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.